Yeah, thanks everyone for being here. I hope everyone have really enjoyed the summit today. And now this is, we are coming to the final session of the summit. We'll close out with a fireside chat with Vinod Khosla, someone who actually doesn't need an introduction. Vinod, of course, everyone knows has been truly a pioneer in the VC space. Has really helped a lot of entrepreneurs to grow their startups, the businesses, has made huge impact in the world. And in particular, actually in the AI space. So Vinod, yes, so you actually have been investing in AI for nearly 20 years. That's a long time.
Well, more than AI is more recent, but
yes. Okay.
2018 for sure when we invested in OpenAI.
Right? Yes. So yes, given your long-term experience, it'll be great. First, maybe you can share a little bit the lessons that you've learned with investing in AI over the years, and also in particular, given that now we are coming to the agentic AI era. So, what do you think? What's making the difference, and what's going to be the big changes and big differences coming?
So the first thing I'd say is it's exciting to see so many people show up on a Saturday afternoon. It's sort of the vibrancy of the place that really excites me. But I think it's the key to rapid progress. So one of the ways I look at what areas will have large breakthroughs is look at universities and say, where is the best talent going? And in the 2018 timeframe, and I started talking about AI probably seriously in 2011, 2012. Made our first few investments in 2014 or so, didn't work out. That was the era of ImageNet. But if you see the progress of talent coming in, you see the story of diversification of new ideas. And so the more people, smart people working on it at universities, the faster the rate of progress is going to be. Also, that doesn't happen if most of the talent is at the big companies and the big labs. Why? Because they tend to do narrow exploration in a narrow domain as opposed to look more widely. So I find the more university students, individual researchers, individual just hackers working at a problem, the faster the rate of progress. And that's always really exciting.
Oh, great, thanks. And thanks a lot for saying this. It's really great to hear, especially given the current time and setting. I think there is a big question, given the amount of compute and resources that are needed to develop these new technologies. More and more, things are happening at in these big companies, places with a lot of resources, and then in general now they actually are fairly closed, right? Don't talk about what they do and don't share with the public, and so there is a big question, right? It's great to hear that you're talking about the importance of the university, and open research and open exploration.
So I get asked this question a lot. I think the big labs will do well and make progress within narrower areas. Everybody knows transformer models. Everybody knows to use RL in one form or another. They'll do that pretty well. Are there other approaches? Absolutely. Those are much higher risk, but higher upside in bang for the buck. So for people with fewer resources, I'm almost certain that lack of resources is an advantage, not a disadvantage. I was just meeting with somebody, and I literally said, if you had 10 or 100 times the money, you would be less likely to innovate than if you had less money. I'm absolutely convinced. So are there other approaches than transformer models? I'm pretty certain there are. And just because we don't know what they are doesn't mean they don't exist. And lots of people have lots of ideas of how to try things. And at every level, we'll see that innovation.
Great, great. Yes, it's really great to hear this. I guess there's a saying, necessity is a mother of creativity. So I think this really gives a great inspiration for people in universities and places with less resources. That's right, better motivation for creativity.
Yeah, no, look, if you're at Google and you're doing a robotics model, and you've already done a VLM and you're doing a new model, what's the obvious thing to do? Oh, let's collect lots of data. How do we do it? Let's get 100 robots or 1,000 robots. And because they can afford it, they get lazy about finding other ways to get much better or more efficient data. So they buy 1,000 robot arms because they can afford it. And it makes the researchers lazy and less creative looking for new solutions. And that's where necessity is the mother of invention idea really is powerful. If you have less resources within bounds, you're more likely to come up with more invention and innovation than if you have lots of resources.
Yeah, great. Thank you. This is a great message for
Which is
for
good
the audience.
news for everybody here, hopefully.
Right. No, thank you. Thank you. Yes, I guess, right. Then, right, so you started investing in OpenAI like very early in the OpenAI's early days. I guess back then also maybe it's a little bit of this, like they are exploring and so on. So maybe, right, you can share a little bit how you decided to invest in OpenAI and now today, and also, usually investments, you do some pattern matching, so what kind of patterns, in particular for today's founders and builders and so on. So yes, what do you think?
It was actually, not that complex. I looked at the world then in 2018. There was 2 research labs in AI that mattered. There was university research, but there was Google, and there was Baidu in China. And I thought the world needed more than those 2. And because Google wasn't moving very fast to make AI pragmatic or practical, they were doing great research, and they probably still have the best repertoire of researchers. They have very good talent. But they were moving at their own pace, no real pressure. And Baidu was doing basically copying Google and set up an office next to Google and try and hire their people and look at what they're doing. I thought it was really important we have a different vector, which was OpenAI. And what was needed was a small, really good team. And it was a small, really great team that wanted to move fast. And those were the only characteristics needed. You could also look at, in 2016, I'd given a talk at the National Bureau of Economic Research, and I'd shown the curves of progress on AI capability in different dimensions against human performance, whether it's speech recognition or image recognition. There's probably 20 curves, and they were all looked silly compared to human performance, but the rate of growth of capability was exponential. So instead of saying what people believed, what other people believed, and saying, hey, these robots are silly, they ask an 83-year-old man if they're pregnant, and AI made stupid mistakes like that. I said, what's the rate of change? And when you follow that curve, it was obvious it was only a matter of time before AI exceeded human capability in any of these dimensions. So you follow the data instead of ask the experts. And by the way, in this talk, I included a graph from about 50 people, their projections of AGI, And they varied from 5 years to 500 years or never. And I said, expert opinion doesn't matter. What matters is just keep innovating step by step and see where it gets you. And the rate of progress is accelerating because the rate of talent input is progressing and the rate of creativity is progressing. And it was obvious to me at some point soon, and I couldn't predict whether that'd be 3 years, and it happened in 2022 with the ChatGPT moment from my point of view. Whether it was then or 5 or 7 years later, when the breakthrough, when it got to pragmatic, useful capability, I didn't know. I didn't need to project. I just knew it would happen. And when it happened, it would be large enough so it wouldn't matter whether you were early or late. Well, being late would be a problem, but being early wouldn't be a problem. So that was sort of the whole thinking of why it made sense. And I think we're in the same place in robotics today. This morning, anybody watch my tweet this morning? So I tweeted something that most of you won't believe today, that before 2030, we will stop using keyboards and speech for input into computers. Now, anybody believe me? A few hands. For the rest of you, I'll give you 2-to-1 odds on any bet you want to place for any amount. Before 2030, we will be reading thoughts, and it'll be multimodal. It won't be text, it won't be speech, it'll be images. And that was my tweet this morning. So go look it up and tell me you don't believe it, and most people won't believe it, but it's clear where progression, where the data is indicating things are going.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, this is really amazing. So you said you gave that talk back in 2016, right? Charting the progress of towards AGI and so on. Yeah, that's really impressive. So
and look, the important thing was not to predict a specific method, right? You couldn't say transformers were going to be it. You couldn't say RL was going to be it. You had to believe with the creativity of all the people trying all the things, that you'd get a steady rate of progress. It's just like evolution in biology. You can't predict the path of evolution. You know it will happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. So I want to get back
by the way, in biology, you do see punctuated equilibrium where you get to a point and then you get this sudden increase in capability, right. And punctuated equilibrium. That thing is happening in AI also and is a good model.
Yes, great. Yeah, thank you. So yes, I want to come back to this point, but I wanted to just double click a little bit of one point that you made. You said actually it doesn't matter if it's early. Although we do know that in the startup world, timing, people do say timing is almost everything. So I wanted to hear a little bit of your thoughts.
Yeah. So that depends on what you're doing. If you're doing an application, like a coding agent that's just using OpenAI or Anthropic LLMs to do coding, timing matters. So applications capturing the user mindshare matters. So whether you're the first accountant or the first structural engineer or the first oncologist or the first coder, their timing matters because you gain mindshare and you get learning and data from interaction early. In fundamental innovation, for example, I've tweeted probably 2 years ago, I'm pretty excited about what category theory could do for new models of AI learning. Could you eliminate hallucination, which is one of the bigger problems. If I look at the problems in AI systems today, hallucination sticks out as one of the bigger ones. Safety is another one. We can come back and talk about it. But if mathematical approaches can add to what LLMs, the dimensions LLMs are really good at, then you've got large breakthroughs. You solve the problem with reasoning systems, have recently added the ability, but we are still talking about, can you give it a 20-minute task or a 30-minute task in agentic systems? Almost certainly, the time horizon for agentic action will increase exponentially over the next few years, and much of it will come from new breakthroughs in approaches.
Great, great, thank you. So yes, this leads to the next question. So the AI space has changed a lot, and it's changing really fast. And you have been amazing investor VC. So let's say if now you have $500 million new fund for investing in AI, what would you do? I mean, of course, in AI, there are many different parts to it. There's the core foundation models that takes a huge amount of resources, billions of dollars of investment to do. And there is various infrastructure, like today in the summit, we actually talked a lot about all the different layers of the stack. And there's an application layer, different verticals and so on. So what would you do if you have a $500 million new fund?
Yeah, so I don't look at it that way. So one thing everybody should know is in 40 years, I've never called myself an investor, ever. I think the business of investing is different than the business of helping innovation and helping entrepreneurs innovate. It's a fundamentally different approach than investing. That's why I never called myself an investor. But let me give you a counterexample. If we had had this conversation last year, and somebody said to me, hey, the best approach for brain-computer interface is what Neuralink is doing, or we have a company called Synchron, invasive approaches. I just said, I can't think of a better one. Today, I'm almost certain all of those are already obsolete, and Neuralink will be obsolete, though people don't know it yet. And non-invasive, large-scale approaches with large-scale data will be a much better approach in the next year or two. Like exceeding Neuralink or even our company's capabilities in the next year with a non-invasive approach is a done deal already. So, the point I'm making is the most important thing is not to have a thesis, but to have agility to follow the thesis and stay engaged and talk to the kind of people in this room. And anytime somebody has a new thesis that has a reasonable basis, I want to hear it. Say, where could it potentially lead? The way I say it, improbables are not unimportant. I would argue only the improbables are important. We just don't happen to know which of 1,000 improbable ideas in this room is important. So not knowing which one's important doesn't mean improbables are not important. And so this is where diversity of thinking around innovation, whether it's agentic systems or other systems, is really, really important, and not to have a closed mind, have real agility in thinking about these things. And that's what I do, right? I tell people, and there's a lot of younger people in this room, I just turned 70. I've never in my entire life, in the last 50 years I've been learning, had a faster rate of learning than today.
Yes,
that's pretty amazing.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Great, thanks. So yes, AI is moving really fast. It's building on this.
So be agile.
Yes, be agile, yes. Mm-hmm. So.
And open-minded, by the way. Lots of agile people are not. Too many people who know too much about a space tend not to be open-minded.
Yes, great, thank you. Yes, so yeah, AI is moving really fast, and in your essay, AI dystopia or utopia, you projected that 80% of the work in 80% of jobs will be done by AI within 25 years. And also, actually, recently, earlier this year at Davos, I was on a panel with Demis, founder and CEO of Google DeepMind. And the first question to the panel was, how far are we to AGI? So I'm curious to hear.
Yeah. You know, AGI is a funny thing. If you use the old Turing test, we have well past AGI already. And whenever you get a capability, somebody moves the goalpost on what AGI is. So I think it's the wrong question. Or I define AGI, at least at the human level of AGI, differently, and ASI, the human superintelligence, is a whole different thing, as the following. If an AI can do 80% of the most valuable, economically valuable 80% of jobs, then I'll call that AI. So economically valuable jobs, if 80% of them can be done by an AI, then we are at that point of dramatic economic value add by an AI, and we shouldn't argue about what the goalpost or benchmark is. I don't need to have to be the best at the IMO to reach that level. Most humans don't come close. 99.9% of the humans don't come close to solving math theorems. So that's a really important capability to have. But to do valuable jobs, we are getting pretty close. Whether we are, and I'll be clear about the capability. The capability to do most of these jobs is there today, especially if you put it at, can we do 80% of all jobs humans do? We are probably there today with a year or two of tweaking current capability into doing that job. Can we take what is in today's state-of-the-art AI models and turn them into an accountant or a structural engineer or pick your favorite oncologist? Yes, we are there today. The capability exists today. The packaging may not be there, but we can package very quickly, and that's lots of opportunity in applications for this crew. Whether you call them AI systems or agentic systems, to me, that differentiation will go away. Now, the more important question is not when we have that capability, it's how fast will it be deployed in real life. And that will take longer and vary dramatically by the area, by the country it's in, by the competitive pressures in that industry. So deployment is a separate thing from the capability being available, but capability in 80% of jobs, probably in the next 2 years or 3 years, if some entrepreneur decides to package it. Today, we are building AI accountants. In our portfolio, building AI accountants, AI structural engineers, AI mental health therapists, AI oncologists, AI primary care doctors, AI chip designers, AI analog chip design. Like, all of these are things we are already doing and are reasonably useful at the level, or AI in a place like cognition, AI software engineers. At the level of interns, these capabilities are there today.
Yes.
And they'll be at the level of a good engineer in the next year or two in all these areas, or a good physician, or a good.
Great, great, yes, yes. Yeah, so similarly, so from the panel, so Demis said 5 years similarly, and essentially from the panel we said it's around 5 years, or there's some maybe 2 to 10 years and so on. So I think the question is, yes, we know that the AI capabilities are already very strong and they are increasing really fast, and this can lead to huge changes in society. And you have spoken quite a bit on this topic as well, so maybe you can also share some insights, right, in this space.
Well, so this is the hard question. adoption of these technologies will be less a function of AI capability and more a function of politics, more a function of what policy allows in a country, what are the safety nets for people. Look, democracy, capitalism will drive these things, but capitalism is by permission of democracy. I can guarantee you the American Medical Association is fighting to not have AI do medical diagnosis. Even though it's proven AI today, even without fine-grained packaging and guardrails and all that, can do substantially better than humans. Stanford just did a multi-center study on complex diagnosis, not the simple stuff, you have flu, but complex diagnosis. Human accuracy across 3 major medical centers was 73%, which means 27% of the patients got the wrong diagnosis or a suboptimal diagnosis. Think about it, for serious complex conditions. The AI was at 88%, so only 12% error rate. When the humans used the AI, they improved from 73 to 76%, but they degraded the AI from 88% to 76%. That is the reality of human behavior and AI today. In many, many areas, not in all areas, but in most areas, very, very soon.
Yeah. Thank you. Right. Yeah, this is a great point. How we can actually really deploy AI capabilities effectively and also with safety
well,
security guarantees.
Look, the Screen Actors Guild had a strike last year, preventing a bunch of companies from using AI in entertainment effectively. So what has happened? It has ensured that the people who stick with the contract with the Screen Actors Guild will go out of business. It'll take them longer to go out of business than adapt AI directly. It's a great opportunity for startups to do new forms of entertainment with AI. Whether you're producing a video, a commercial, a new kind of video game, it'll come from startups that didn't sign up to the Screen Actors Guild. Big opportunity.
Great. Thank you. So now we are coming towards the end. Maybe just one final question. If you could just offer one piece of advice to the next generation of agentic AI builders, what would it be?
I would say the simple thing. Most people are limited not by what they can do, but what they think they can do. So if you take the limits off on what you think you can do and try things, then you will do a lot more. You will fail a lot more, but you will achieve a lot more. I would say skeptics never do the impossible. Every time I tweet something, there's skeptics saying, oh, I tried this last year or 3 years ago, and give me a break. Go live in that world, fine. And we should allow people to live in a world without AI, if they choose, but they shouldn't constrain how other people who want to use AI use AI. So I would say skeptics never did the impossible, and all of you should try and fail, but do not fail to try. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.